This is from A to Z. I go by Michael Mike Check. Yeah, and this is from A to Z. This Kilo G. Jose then Gray. This is from A to Z podcast. My name is Christian Burgos. This is from A to Z. Adrian Casares from A to Z. My name is Tom Stone. This is from A to Z. Cesar Gaddix. This is from A to Z. Rico Alvarado. This is from A to Z. I am Rajepi. We're at A to Z Studios. Shout out to A to Z for having me. My name is DJ Rick Monster. Also, aka Bangalore. This is from A to Z. Kelvin Candy. Name is Vic. This is A to Z. My name is Richard Tattoo Santiago. I'm Professor Panda. This is from A to Z. What's up, man? My name is Kid Griffey. This is from A to Z. What's up? This is KB Fan from LGC. This is from A to Z.
Yeah, and that's how we started. Oh my God. Best one, man. Thank you for coming, dude. It's
Hell
an
yeah,
honor, dude.
For sure, man. I like this little dungeon you got going on down here.
Well, thank you, man. Yeah, man. It just used to be a regular basement until I needed somewhere to create.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, little by little, man. And so again, thank you for coming, bro. Usually for the people's first time coming down here, bro, I like to take it back to the origin story, the beginning, how it all happened before you're doing what you're doing before you're doing what you are doing now. So I definitely want to take it back to, where were you born?
I was born in Chicago, Illinois.
Okay. And how was it in Chicago for you until you moved to Rockford?
It was cool. It's a lot different now compared to when I was growing up, but I mean, it was cool. There was a lot more gang activity, I should say, where I grew up and stuff like that. So I grew up seeing a lot of that when it was at the peak. And, I went to Roberto Clemente, which is a pretty crazy school on the northwest side. So that's where it all started. I used to go to this church called St. John Birchman's. And like Bad Boy Bill and Julian Jumping Perez and the Cutting Crew and some other would go there and spin. And they actually had spin-offs, and that's when I was like, man, I think I want to be a DJ. This stuff looks fun,
Okay, but was it hard growing up at that time? Because it's not like it is now, where you can be at home all day, playing on your iPad.
Well, I know, starting from the bottom per se, like we were just broke kids back then. Living on the bare minimum, and living in the city, kind of in poverty. My mom and dad struggled to feed us kids. There was like 3 of us.
Yeah.
So she worked a job, and my dad died when I was like 5. So my mom was the only parent. Yeah,
and then we're like, cause I don't know if people know, but like in Chicago, bro, like if you grow up in a certain neighborhood, bro, usually the gangs get to you somehow.
Yeah, well, the friends that I grew up with, like a lot of them were gangbangers, but I never was, and but the other gangs, like the rivals, always thought I was. So there was always, conflict there. They would think that I was, but I wasn't. So as long as I stayed in my bounds, I was safe. Yeah. But when you go outside of those bounds, you kind of had to watch out, because they seen me hanging with the other rivals, I guess.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I can imagine, man. I mean, because again, I wasn't living in Chicago for too long, because when I was little, I moved here to Rockford. Yeah. But even growing up, bro, I remember when I was little and going to school, bro, I remember other kids would like try to fight me or pick on me because I came from a different fucking street, So, and that made me always want to get a group of friends to, like, just in case, to combat the rival from other streets and shit. But luckily I got out, and when I got to Rockford, it was different, man. It wasn't really like that,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There is, like, here, I feel like it's just sides. So you're from the west side, you're from the south side, So when how did you discover music?
Like I said, I first really started liking music in the house music era. We would always get on B96 and record the mixes and stuff, like Bad Boy Bill, Julian, and all those cats. And they had the battles with, like, I think it was like BMX and GCI and stuff like that. So back in the day, I would just record the mixes. when they came in like on a weekend, and then I found out about that St. John Birchman ordeal, and I started going there. Yeah. And then they used to have like battle of the DJs and stuff, and me and my two buddies would particularly go there like every time they had an event and just watch. And then it got to the point where we were trying to DJ, and we would take old stereos, you know, the big wooden consoles with the turntable, and we would put two of them together and try to mix that way.
Yeah.
That was the start of it, I guess, you know. And then eventually we would go downtown and start looking at these Technic 1200s in this Midwest stereo place or something, that they had them in a window, like in the front window.
Yeah.
We would get a super transfer in Chicago and take the train down there and get off downtown at the Greyhound.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And go to the store and just look at them and be like, man, I want one of those 1200s one day.
Yeah. Was it expensive at that time?
Yeah, I think back then, I think it's more expensive now. Back then, I think they were like 500 or so, which was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Back then, you know, so, which is a crazy thing. One Christmas, my mom actually got me a pair of 1200s, you know.
Yeah. May I ask, when you did put your own together, did you know what you were doing, or like did you have like somebody teach you like, oh, if you put this together you can get this?
My buddy Junior,
okay,
Wild Boy, we would go to his cousin's house or something with his brother too, Papa, and we would go down there on the bus, and his cousin or whatever already had decks 1200s and stuff, so we would sort of play on the 1200s. That was when I was first trying to learn.
Yeah.
And then eventually I got my own stuff, and I still really didn't fully know what we were doing, but we were trying anyways.
Yeah.
Eventually we got into the blending, and of course because of Bad Boy Bill, I really was into the scratching and stuff.
Okay.
So I always was practicing trying to scratch and stuff. And then this kid took me under my wing, this Luis, like this Ramirez. He was already in the scene doing a bunch of stuff. So he kind of seen me. I was doing these house parties in my basement, charging like $2 a head. And it was kind of getting crunk, and we would buy records with it the next day at gramophone records or needles. We were breaking needles like crazy when we were learning, you know.
Yeah.
And when I would get the needles, we would just be scratching all crazy on them and messing up records and whatever, but it didn't matter. We were having fun, you know.
Yeah. So when you first started off, was it easy getting to know like DJs, or was it a little hard, you know?
It was tricky, but since I was doing those parties in my house, I was actually passing out flyers at school, grammar school, you know. So I got to know about other house parties in the neighborhoods, like surrounding neighborhoods. So I started doing those house parties as well. And one time at one of the house parties, one of the members of the Metric 30 Dozen, like the head guy, Malamix Maliko, noticed me. And he was like, man, we really like your style. We'd like you to be part of the crew. And they were all older heads already. They were in the scene, like, at all the big halls and the parties. And I'm like, I was ecstatic, you know. I'm like, hell yeah. I want to be down, you know.
Yeah.
So there's like, oh, one thing you got to do, you got to change your name. And back then, there's a funny story. I was called myself Bad Burning Brian, you know, heavily influenced from Bad Boy Bill, you know.
Okay, yeah.
So they're like, you got to change that name, dude. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
So he calls me like 4 days later. He's like, I got it, bro. I'm like, what is it? He's like, how about Busy Boy Brian? And I was like, all right, we could roll with that, you know, because the house names, they were all real long names.
Okay, yeah.
So I rolled with Busy Boy Brian for years for the house scene. And they got me in all kind of halls and stuff. He would just call me, and I have the calendar there. Back then, we would write on the calendar.
Yeah.
You're at Northwest Hall this week, and this other week you're here and there. And then Lewis, like this Ramirez, was doing like the boat parties, were dope as hell. Like, I would go with him, and then the boat would take off. We would DJ on the boat. And yeah, so it started there with the cruise and stuff. And then over the years, I kind of switched over more into hip-hop. I started trying to doing battle stuff. I entered the DMC, Scribble Jam, Guitar Center battles, Put Up Your Dukes, and St. Louis, and a whole bunch of other ones. And the list could go on and on for the battles, you know.
Yeah, I definitely want to bring it back, bro. So when you first started to do the DJ, you were just doing house. That was the first.
Yes, I was a house DJ originally.
What got you into house? Because that's something specific. A lot of people.
Mostly, I would say because of the radio, like B96 and stuff, you know, and WGCI when they were doing those streams on the weekends.
The only reason why I know about house is because my sisters, bro, they used to play that shit all the time.
Oh, I loved it, man. Back then. I actually had, like, so many house records. It's insane. I mean, I actually got robbed a couple times where people broke in my house and stole the equipment multiple times. So
holy shit.
Over the years, you know, I lost records. And finally, when we did move out this way, when we were going to move to the new house I got now, I'm like, you know what? I don't even want the vinyl no more. I'm like, the reason being is because everything's digital now.
Yeah.
So I don't, first of all, don't got the time to transfer all that stuff. Because you got to transfer in real time to record. Yeah. And I had, you know, hundreds of vinyl. I'm like, I could probably get anything digital now. So I really don't even need the vinyl.
Is there anything that you have physical that you can't find digital?
Yeah, there is some battle records, you know, like Qbert stuff that is hard to find digital. But I got a lot of that stuff. You know, my one buddy, DJ Nuisance, he actually had a cutting session with Qbert, like hours and hours. So Qbert gave him a lot of the stuff digital. So,
okay.
And of course, I got a hold of it too from Nuisance.
Yeah. And another thing I want to ask you, man, like scratching, like how long did you practice scratching before you actually did, like before you stepped into a professional setting?
Man, probably I would say years for sure. Years? When during the house scene we would practice, or I would practice even on my own, just daily, kept on practicing, listening to Bill, you know, like, damn, how did he do that little scratch, or where did he get that sample from, you know, and over the years I figured it out, but it took quite a bit of practicing where I was confident with it, especially in the battle realm, you know. I mean, blending beats and scratching is a whole new territory compared to just blending records and DJing, which most of the house DJs, they would scratch, but it was more like a simple wiggly kind of scratch, you know, like they didn't really do like, say, like a transformer or a crab or a flare scratch or anything like that.
Okay. Dude, from when you started till now, has there been like a lot of things have changed?
Yeah, you know, nowadays it's kind of sad because because of the pandemic, there is no real battles where there's an actual crowd no more. Like all the DMC stuff is all online.
Okay.
So there's no crowd. And to me, like having that crowd in front of you, the energy is way different than just DJing in front of a camera or something, you know?
Yeah.
So that is a big difference. I think, you know, the pressure you're under dealing with a crowd is a lot different than just dealing in front of a camera, which is nowadays.
Yeah.
And it's for precautionary because of the pandemic, but I actually entered the first scratch battle in front of a crowd just earlier this year in Chicago. You know?
How was it?
I was cool. I didn't have 1200s at the time. I just had my controller, my Rain 1, which is moving platters, whatever, but I wish I had my turntables a couple weeks prior to practice more. I still got like 4th place or something. My buddy Butcher wound up getting 2nd in the final, so
congrats.
It's cool battling like Chicago. My guy Ryan, DJ Guillotine, he took 1st, but he's like a defending champion. You know?
Sure.
So it's cool.
Now, may I ask, when you enter something like that, dude, are you just like contemplating on like first place, or are you just enjoying the moment?
No, I asked Guillotine beforehand. What does he think about the battle and who you think would be in it if it's worth trying? He's like, dude, why don't you try? I'm like, dude, there's no way I haven't battled in years, and there's no way. He's like, how do you know? He's like, you never know. Just try it.
Yeah.
So I did it, me and my guy Butcher.
Yeah.
Butcher's from Rockford too. So we just went up there and tried it. It was fun. I'm glad I did it, and next time I'll be ready.
Were you nervous?
Oh yeah, even though I've been doing this for years, I was still nervous. Nervous is always there. If it's not, you might as well not even do it.
Okay.
To me.
Yeah. Cool. And I also want to bring it back, bro. Rockford. When did you move to Rockford?
When did I what?
When did you move to Rockford?
Oh, probably about 95.
95?
I would say, yeah. Yep, it was probably about 95.
How was it when you first moved here?
When I first came here, I didn't really know many people, so I mean, I still had my equipment and stuff, so since I didn't know many people, I would have basically invited my Chicago buddies to come out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And a lot of them would come out back then, and we would kind of party. Back then, I lived in a trailer, so we would party up in the trailer park, and cops would be called for being too loud and everything else. But, I mean, it was fun, and then I started slowly meeting people here and there, and I wound up meeting this girl, Erica Cornelia, at UPS.
Okay.
And she was affiliated with Brigada Records. I don't know if you ever heard of them, but Chris Hare and stuff. And
I know Chris Hare. Yeah.
Well, she let me spin at this after party at the old Groove House on Charles Street.
Okay.
So I DJ'd there for the first time. She waited till the very end, almost like 20 minutes left in the party. And she finally let me go on.
Oh, okay.
So I threw down. She's like, damn, you do got skills.
Yeah.
So then from there, it turned into me DJing at the LT's and the basement. They used to have these parties.
Okay.
Nick Arcefa and Erica and Cass Martin and all these old school Rockford heads would come there and spin too.
Okay.
So I got to spin there a bunch. I was more like a hip hop kid at that point. So and then I met with Chris Hare. Chris was one of the ones that was help throwing those parties, and I wound up hooking up with this artist that was on Brigada Presence, and I was doing DJing for Presence, and we went all around the Midwest basically doing shows and stuff.
Oh shit.
Colorado, Kansas, St. Louis, Chicago, all over. We even did stuff for like Immoral Technique and some others in the industry. Tame One, rest in peace, he just passed away. Oh. We did a show with Tame One too. Oh, sure. In Indianapolis, I think it was.
And before that moment, when you met that guy, like, what did you think? Did you think like, fuck, there's this town or city doesn't have like enough music people to collab or kick it with? Or
yeah, I didn't really know many people, so I wasn't even sure, like, as far as the DJ scene, I didn't know anybody, so
yeah,
we just kind of did our own thing at the trailer park,
Yeah, because, bro, like me, I've been living here since 07, and like, 2020 or 2021, bro, like, that's when I realized that Rockford has like a whole bunch of music artists, a whole bunch of drawing artists, bro.
Right.
It took me a long time to realize that Rockford has a lot of talent, man.
Yeah, like, for me, I used to do graffiti too back in Chicago. So once I moved this way, we still continued the graffiti thing. And once I discovered the amount of freight trains that were in this area, I started inviting my graffiti heads up from Chicago, like some legendary graffiti heads like Rock and Jinx and Maine. And we were actually meeting up and doing the trains.
Was it easy to convince them to come over, or were they?
Oh, when I told them about the trains, it wasn't too hard.
Because like when somebody invites you to a more secluded area, you're kind of like, what's there to do,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Shore from Indianapolis and his brother Demo and all those kids, they would just stay the weekend or something at my house, and we would get a bunch of cans, and at night we would go terrorize the trains. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, speaking of that, bro, I definitely wanted to talk about that too. Like, so how did that come in? Like, was it with the DJing or was it separate? Like,
it was kind of separate, I would say, but I always DJ'd, but there was certain periods here and there where I wasn't as serious with the DJing as I was with the graffiti per se.
Yeah.
And it's all revolves around that adrenaline rush, basically. There's something about getting chased by the cops and getting away, that whole adrenaline.
I bet.
Yeah, the same kind of adrenaline when I'm at a show and there's a big crowd and they're all cheering you on, or giving you props. It's kind of same feeling. And I've always been a kind of adrenaline junkie. Same thing with, like, I fish a lot too, like hooking a big muskie or something and then getting that picture and showing it to people, like, damn, that's a huge fish or something. I mean, same kind of adrenaline.
May I ask which one was first, the graffiti or the DJing?
DJing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was your first style?
My first what?
Style. Like drawing, tagging, or how did it start? Was it pencil and paper, or did you pick up a can right
the
away?
graffiti thing was funny. We were what they call kind of toys, I guess. We would go in my back alley, and we would just be tagging in the back alley on the factories. Back there was a whole bunch of factories. And the funny part, there was this cat, Maine. He was pretty dope, but we were just toys per se, and we would cross out Maine, like his name, and we were putting our name up. And one day we actually met him at the local, it was a Walgreens where you develop film. And we wound up meeting him, and then when we actually told him who we were, and he told us who he was just laughing. He was cool about it. He didn't get violent or nothing, but he actually took us under his wing and showed us real graffiti stuff, like took us to Chinatown and showed us the walls down there and took us on bombing missions in the city, and then I wound up linking up with TFD crew through this guy Rock and Barrel. And back then, there's this Congress Theater, and on top of the Congress Theater, way on the rooftop, you could see TFD crew, real big with rollers. They did it. And, like, that's all you could see is TFD up on the roof. So I met them, and they were graffiti artists too, and they invited me and my guy Ricky into the crew as members. So we got in, and we stood on Maine. We went on missions with Maine, and we were tagging TFD at that point.
Like, at any point were you like, man, am I in a gang or something?
Not really, because I already knew about all the gang activity, so I knew real gang members, and I seen a lot of crazy stuff happen with that, so I knew that the graffiti thing was better than being in a gang. So.
Did any gangs fuck with you, though? Because, like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Especially, like, in the South Side where you said you were at.
Yeah.
We would go, graffiti the South Side walls, and a couple times they're throwing 40-ounce bottles at us or whatever out the window, or confronting us while you're throwing this and that in your piece or star or whatever,
Yeah, I can imagine, bro.
That's a 5-point star, 6-point star, whatever, So, yeah, I mean, we got confronted many times.
Well, like, how would you handle it? Like, just...
You would just tell them, we're not gang members. We're just graffiti artists trying to do art, and we're neutrons, and they would always try to mess with us or whatever. Sometimes they beat us up, but that was just part of the game, I guess.
When it came to that, like, getting beat up, like, did you still love it, or were you like, man, I gotta change?
No, I liked it. I mostly liked doing stuff like rooftops or trains.
Yeah.
That was like my best, funnest part about it. I mean, the legal pieces were cool too, to get together with graffiti artists and actually take time and compose, some legal stuff, but adrenaline from getting away from the cops and the authorities and stuff was the reason why I did it, I guess.
Okay, yeah, dude, that's dope. How do you think the community is here to Chicago?
Well, when I was growing up in the community, we did go to like church and stuff, me and my mom, and for a while there on Sundays, so it was a pretty tight community as far as everybody in the neighborhood kind of knew each other, and all the kids kind of hung out together. So when I moved to Rockford, I didn't see that kind of community compared to Chicago. Maybe because I was the outsider,
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't see that everybody knew each other.
Okay, yeah. How long did you feel like an outsider?
I mean, I think I still do today, overall. You know what I mean?
I do too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I feel like an outsider because I just really don't go out too much because I'm usually doing my thing here. But like, yeah, dude, there's times where I feel like an outsider even when I'm out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of still try to push and do my own thing and try to get into as many gigs as I can in the Rockford area, and people know who I am and everybody's cool, but I still feel like I am not part of the Rockford squad, per se.
Yeah, same here, dude.
I'm from Chicago,
Yeah.
And they all know that,
Do you go back to visit Chicago or?
Yeah, I do once in a great while just because I got some friends still there. But things have changed drastically as far as like parking and everything else too. Like everything's permit parking now, and
really?
It's all weird. Like if you go in certain neighborhoods, if you try to park where you normally parked back in the day, now it's you gotta have this permit and that permit. Or
Shit!
You can only park here or there. So
I remember the permits being like a chair or something.
No, well, back in the day when the snow, with the snow, we used to use the chairs to try to block your spot.
Dude, yeah, man, blast from the past.
No, yeah.
Dude, so I did want to get into this too, the DJing stuff. As time changes, the equipment changes. Was it easy to like mess with the new technology that was coming out?
Yeah, I had turntables for the longest time. Even when I started first doing gigs, was at this place in my own gigs. After I met my girlfriend and stuff, I used to do a lot of stuff with the MCs, DJ for MCs. And after a while, my girlfriend was like, "Don't you want to be the star?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's just GoPro, don't worry about it.
Okay.
So then I was like, "What do you mean the star?" She's like, "Well, don't you want to be the one that is noticed instead of playing the background, the DJ?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, yeah, sure, yeah." So we started trying to do our own shows. And I got this bar gig. The first bar gig in Belvedere was at this place called a Doghouse through Tony.
Doghouse.
And
East State?
No, it was on in Belvedere.
Oh, okay.
But it was technically was off state.
Okay.
But it was in a little strip mall kind of. And that's where I started doing my own stuff. After I bought some equipment, the girlfriend recommended we buy just some speakers and whatnot to have our own PA to start stuff, and that's where start was, where I started kind of branching off of the MCs and doing my own thing.
Okay. Was it easy to find gigs like that? Especially
No, it was not, being an outsider.
Yeah, I could imagine, man.
It took a while. You had to really get recognition and the credibility, I guess.
Did you ever use anybody as a reference? Like, hey, I'm a DJ, I'd be DJing with this guy, that guy.
Not really. I think it was just because I started getting a little bit of a buzz from doing stuff like the Doghouse. Like the first transition from the Doghouse, I believe, was RBI. And back then, Nick Diaz was the DJ manager.
Okay.
So Nick Diaz got a hold of me. He's like, man, we'd like to try you at RBI. So I was at RBI for a good running, probably 2 years.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
Or something. It was really crunk back then. At RBI, it would get real packed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it went from RBI to district.
Oh, district. Okay.
Then I started doing district. And then it went to RBI, district to, what'd you call it, Onyx. I did Onyx.
Okay.
And then
the top, what do you want to call them? The top lounge bars, whatever, in Rockford, basically?
I would say still district's up there, of course. And Fozzie's is up there. I really like Fozzie's. I mean, all the people there are awesome. They're all real cool people, good people. And Billy's a good dude. You know, he does Onyx and District.
Okay.
I'm trying to think where else. The Office. I really like the vibe at Office. The people that come there are to come in the party. You know.
Okay, sweet.
The girls feel a lot comfortable there because it's per se known as a gay bar, so they feel more comfortable, I think, of letting loose and dancing.
That bar would definitely be chill and cool, bro. I go with my girl to the drag races.
Yeah, bro, I like the booth too. The booth is upstairs. And then to get into the back, to go to the booth, it looks like you're not supposed to be there, which you're really not.
Oh, really?
So you got to go through a room, and then you got to climb technically like a little ladder to get into the booth. Yeah.
I thought it was just like a little stairway like that.
No, it's like a little kind of a ladder, I would call it. I wouldn't really call it a stairway. But you climb this 4-stair ladder up to the booth, and once you get in the booth, it's pretty big. Okay. And it's secluded, so nobody bothers you. You somebody be down on the floor, trying to yell a request like, "Oh, I can't hear you," which I really can't. But nowadays they got the phone, with the big letters, Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
Like 90% right now are like on the Bad Bunny tip.
Yeah. And I want to ask you, man. So, do you prefer to perform at like bars, or do you like to do other stuff too, like other events?
I like doing Madison quite a bit, which I've been doing Madison for some years now. Green Bay too sometimes. It's kind of the drive, but they usually take care of me, get me a hotel and all that when I go to Green Bay.
Dude, that's dope.
Madison I've been doing for some years with Badger State DJs and Clint, a.k.a. Whitehorse, kind of got me in. And the reason I got in with Clint is because I knew this cat that I got into a muskie league with, which is like a little muskie fishing thing we did on Tuesdays, competition. Okay. And he knew Clint, like they went to school together. So I told my guy Mark, I'm like, man, you think Clint would give me a chance? He's like, I don't know, you could try. So I hit up Clint, and initially he wouldn't give me no chance. He was like, oh, I don't know, man. We're kind of good right now. We don't really need DJs. I'm like, all right, man, whatever. That's cool, And then one day out of nowhere, he's like, you know what? We'll let you start at this lower end bar and see how you do.
Yeah.
So he put in this bar. It was in Stoughton there. I'm trying to remember the name of it. But anyways, we did the bar, and after a month, it was cracking. Like, it was so packed that the owner was getting nervous.
Oh, really?
Started saying stuff like play country or this and that to get people out of there.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, he was nervous. It was packed.
Yeah.
Some of the people, maybe not the kind of people he wanted in there, but I couldn't control that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
You know how it is.
Yeah. And were you like, man, I mean, people are good business regardless of what it is? Or like,
yeah.
How did you think of it?
It was cool because Clint eventually noticed that I was doing good business there, and he put me in downtown to this place called Blue Velvet, which is no longer. It was a dope-ass vibe. I mean, it was a good party vibe, and I really liked the vibe that was going on downtown Madison,
Okay.
And then he eventually seen that I was improving myself, and he started putting me in all the other bars slowly but surely. So.
Oh, okay. Now, may I ask, do you seek opportunities, or do you wait until you see, or till the opportunity sees you?
I try to push myself too. If I see the opportunity where I could try to get in, I will try to get in and see what they say. But a lot of times people hit me up as well.
Okay.
A lot of it's word of mouth. Especially for private events and stuff. I do weddings and stuff like that too. So a lot of that's all word of mouth.
Oh, okay. Sweet. And okay, and I also want to ask you about when you transitioned to hip hop. Who did you listen to?
Man, back then, Run DMC, Yo Cool J, Beastly Boys. Those are all the stuff. I was going to Logan Square at this place called Disco City. I don't know if anybody knew about that, but it was a little record shop, and I would just be digging in there, finding the L Cool J stuff, and I brought the Bad album, and I bought like the Run DMC doubles of that Peter Piper I was juggling with or trying to, and that was the starting point of the hip hop stuff. I was watching like Mike Boogie Boy, battling in the DMC and stuff, and he knew this other guy that I met through the house parties, Adam. And this guy Adam was real good at cutting and stuff, scratching, so I was kind of learning a lot from Adam as well.
Now, can I ask you, do you still keep up with the hip hop, or you think it's changed?
No, I do like hip hop. Like on my personal time, I like more underground hip hop. Like Atmosphere, or Jelly Roll, Mercules, stuff like that. More underground than I would actually play at like a bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
On
my personal time, anyways.
Okay.
And of course, at the bars, I kind of got to mix it up between the current hip hop, the old school hip hop, and some EDM, of course, depending on the crowd.
Yeah. Do you always analyze your crowds? See who?
Yeah, I do try, especially certain places, like for example, like Hideout and Popular Grove. If I get in there at like 8:30 and I notice it's all 40 and above, I can't just jump on a decks and start playing hip hop.
Okay.
Being a job, I have to be like, all right, well, these are older crowd. I better start with like some classic rock or something. I'll hit them with some classic rock bangers right off the bat. As long as they're vibing and I'm keeping people there, they're making money.
Okay, yeah.
Which the bottom line is, if you're being a mobile DJ in the bar business, is making them money,
Yeah.
So as long as I'm making them money, I know it's all good. Because eventually, the old people leave and the young people will either remain or come. And then I could change it up to hip hop and stuff.
Okay. Now, how do you analyze your crowd? Do you go by the face, or do you go by what they wear, or?
Well, a lot of times if I walk into a bar, they already got something going on the jukebox.
Okay.
And plus I look at the age group. So if there's a bunch of classic rock already on the jukebox, or even some current pop stuff, then I'll be like, all right, I got this.
Okay.
I'll just transition right in and go with that flow and see how it is,
In the beginning, was it easy for you to read the room, or it took time?
Well, it all depended on how large your library was, your digital library,
Oh, okay.
Like I'm sure back when I first was trying to do some of these gigs, my library wasn't as large as it is today, Now I carry like 10 terabytes in external drive. Just because video as well,
Oh, okay, videos. Yeah.
Madison, they were requiring video at like Lucky's and Green Bay too. They all got all these screens and stuff. They run video and.
And you run video. The video you have, is it like from your sets, or just videos?
No, it's actual videos from the record pools and stuff.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, actual high quality videos and stuff. That's why the files are kind of large when you start collecting them.
Yeah, dude, tell me about it, man. I remember when I shot, I didn't know about 4K and like 1080.
Right.
Dude, oh my God.
Big difference.
Big difference. The files, downloading, all that, bro. Like, oh my God.
Yep, I know. I do a little editing too of videos and stuff. So yeah.
What made you get into that?
You know, there was a short period there where I got into a car accident, and I think it was like 2003 or 4. So my arm was injured pretty bad. They were actually talking about amputation.
Holy shit.
My girlfriend was telling the doctor, "Oh, please don't cut his arm. He's an artist, you know, this and that." So they did like I think the first surgery was like 8 or 10 hours or something. And they were able to save my arm. But if you would have seen it when it first happened, it was like plastic, man. It was smashed. My elbow was completely crumbled.
Ooh.
They had to this hand, they had to readjust my elbow, you know, with plates and screws and this and that. I had a cracked humerus bone, a pinched radial nerve, which moves your fingers kind of.
Yeah.
And they repaired all that. For a long time, I had to wear this thing on my hand, and there was like rubber bands that held up my fingers or something, because I couldn't go like that, like upwards. And then because the radial nerve was pinched, so they thought it was permanently damaged after the surgery. They went in again and inspected the radial nerve and figured out it just needed to heal, grow back, you know.
Dude, were you worried?
Huh?
Were you worried?
Yeah, I was worried when it initially happened, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was ever going to be able to use my arm or not.
But let's say you couldn't use the arm at all anymore. Would you still practice DJing? Or?
Yeah, I would try, yeah. Right when I got out of the hospital, or finally released, the first thing I did, of course, is try to go fishing. And to fish, you need 2 hands, you know?
Yeah.
So I would just kind of prop the rod underneath my thing here, and I would just reel with the other one, hold down, and kind of try to... I mean, I still had that thing so I could hold stuff.
Yeah.
I just couldn't open my hand as well. And I couldn't open up my arm fully because of the movement was stuck, kind of.
Okay.
Physical therapy for years. Finally got it working.
But wouldn't you say like DJing also too like would help the muscle because you're kind of like...
Yeah, it probably helped a bit with the movement. There's probably a video out there somewhere of me, Carlos Cutter, I think it was Demas Deltoid as well. We all, like 3 of us, did an actual little demonstration of scratching over beats and stuff. And back then I still had the cast on, and I was up there cutting it up with those guys.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy.
That was during one of the Girls and Skills. We threw, it was like in Byron, so there wasn't a ton of people, but the Crest was there from Madison, and we had a bunch of people, graffiti artists there, and it was cool.
Okay. But yeah, the video, you got into the video because your arm was broken?
Yeah, because my arm was broken, I didn't have much to do. So the girlfriend said, maybe you should go back to school. I know, me from Chicago, kind of hard-headed. I'm like, I don't know about that. And she's like, why not? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I kind of looked at the programs, and I noticed they had an audio-video program there at Rock Valley. I'm like, well, I might want to mess with that.
Yeah.
This guy, Brian Shelton, big ups to Brian Shelton, he had was teaching the class, so I wound up getting into basic audio and video, and I really liked it. And we did a lot of filming stuff and on the field and whatnot, and editing. I was in that editing booth because they gave us access back then, like 24/7 almost.
Okay, yeah.
So I would go in there and just edit and try to learn. Avid was back then what he was trying to teach us, and I could learn Final Cut Pro a little bit. And then I wound up being a advanced kid as well. And actually, when I was a basic kid, the advanced kids invited me to be on their cable access show that they had back then.
Oh, shit.
And I still got a YouTube link to that I did the cable access show. It was called Ground Level.
Okay.
And I actually DJ'd on the advanced kids Ground Level show.
Oh.
And we did our own as the years went on, you know.
What was your favorite type of filming style? For me, when I film, it's usually documentary. It's not really like for a video. It's not really for like a music video type of style.
Yeah.
I like documentary style for me.
I did the video style for like the Crest. They had this song about war vets kind of, and stories about certain vets. And I actually tried to film a video with them. I mean, it didn't get fully completed as I liked to, but I did it, and then I had it played during the advanced kids final stage, you know, when they had everybody submit their little videos, and that was one of the ones I submitted. So it was more like music video style. I really liked that kind of stuff.
Okay. Well, was it hard for you, or was it kind of easy to get like the
shots were kind of tricky. You had to really think about where you're gonna shoot the shots and how you're gonna link them all together. You know.
Yeah.
Like the American flag, I went to Madison to shoot that real big flag they got there on the 1218, and I did like some kind of war style clips too at the VFW Belvedere. They had that big tank there, and just different ideas like that I was throwing around. And the Crest would rap in like in their basement, you know, and spitting rhymes, and I was recording them and stuff. And on the rooftop too, we did a couple on the rooftop. So just trying to think of different shots, you know.
Yeah, good. That's why I like documentary, bro. Cause like documentary, like let's say you're DJing, I want to document that, right?
Right.
All I gotta do is just record you doing your thing at your event, and that's basically it. You know, I don't gotta think of a shot. The shot's already there.
The shots are there, yeah.
But dude, that's interesting, bro. Hell yeah. And what was your first camera or like camcorder?
No, the ones at school. They used to let you rent out these cameras. Some of them were like Sony's and stuff. Ooh. But the one I really liked a lot that I wound up getting myself, I found one used, was the Canon XL1.
Yeah.
I really liked that camera. I still got it to this day.
Yeah.
But I really would always be renting out the Canon XL1. And it was funny because during one of the school things when they showed clips, I had this real funny clip that my pit bull... My buddy was playing ball with him. My buddy threw the ball, and he was kind of recording him. And my pit bull came running full blast and, like, knocked him over. Well, he had the camera in his hand and stuff, and he screamed real loud like a girl kind of, you know. So it was hilarious, like, on camera. And I showed the whole class, and the teacher was like, was that the $5,000 camera or the $10,000?
Hey, for real, dude, those cameras are fucking...
Yo, I know.
Bro. Oh my god! Like this camera, it's decent. It's a decent 1080. You know? Yeah. But that shit was still like 2 something. Like
oh yeah, for sure. I still got the Canon. I forget what I paid, but I got a deal on it compared to what it normally would be. It only shoots in like a 480, I think, or something. Not bad. But they're older, yeah. Oh, okay. 480 is actually still pretty damn clear. Not compared to nowadays, probably not, but it was still good back then.
Yeah. Now, dude, I did want to ask you your process when you're about to hit the DJ booth. Like, what's your process? Like, do you take a shot? Do you smoke a little before you go?
You know, I always smoke a little bit, but depending on the gig, sometimes I don't even want to smoke. I want to go on with a clear head. And being diabetic, I no longer drink no more. I used to. Back in the Chicago days, we would drink like crazy. But when I'm doing professional gigs now, I mostly go in with a clear head. Sometimes I might take a puff or two, but other than that, lately especially, I just been going in real clear-headed and just focusing. You know.
Yeah.
I plan my sets ahead of time. Of course, I'm in the record pool, so weekly I do at least 2-3 hours of downloading, and then I go in and analyze everything and listen to the tracks, make crates, you know, like for example, I would say November hot hits from the actual downloads, and then I would stuff in the good tracks into that hot hits crate, so then I could go into monthly, like October hits or November hits or December hits, and then I could go into those crates and know that those are my bangers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you know? Yeah. That way I kind of know I'm going to be on point. Or I even make like an old school collection. Just a folder of just old school stuff throughout the months.
Okay.
Because they're always releasing some of the old stuff in their record pools as well. So I'll collect another folder just for the old school.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna ask, bro. I wasn't sure because there's quite a bit to unload.
Yeah.
You definitely been there in the history, man. Like a lot of people haven't. Well, a few, but like not a lot on here. Like
Yeah.
I think you're the second like OG here.
Oh yeah.
Unless you want to count Chris Jeebus. I don't know if you know.
Oh yeah, Chris. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I was actually part of the Split Ends too for a while there. I don't know if you know about the Split Ends. Michael Mike Check and Adam, first man. Adam's gone now, but they would. The way I met Adam and Michael Mike Check was at the Versus battle, which used to go down at Mary's place.
Yeah.
Big up to Michael Mike Check, but he was throwing these battles. And, cats like Ethan. I don't know if you remember Ethan. He's gone too now. But Ethan and Stuck used to battle too back then. MC battle.
Yeah.
And Stuck was battling like Ethan and stuff. There was one verse where Stuck was like, oh, Ethan needs to be on some wheat thins or something like that. It was pretty bad.
Now, Biz One, do you want to burn one?
Sure.
Ooh.
Hell yeah,
bro! I love smoking OGs, man. Now, dude, I did want to ask you because, the battle raps. I know we touched on them a little bit. Like, do you see them evolving more, or you don't see them enough now?
I think from what it used to be, I think it's actually declined big time. I don't even hear much about MC battles, but recently Michael Mike Check was on the internet on Facebook talking about bringing back the versus battles. So, but I don't think I've ever seen a rap battle in Rockford now for I don't know how long. It's been years, I think, from what I see.
Yeah. No, you definitely wouldn't be wrong, bro. Because again, even though I'm not out there like that, I still keep my ear out either on the internet or on the streets. Yeah, I think the only one that's really doing anything is like, the Swap House, Dana Kappa, Michael Mike Check, and then you also got Vic Monster. Shout out to Vic Monster.
Yeah, Vic's the man, dude.
Yeah, bro.
I said Vic for president, man. I always joke with Vic.
Yeah, dude, I told him too. Shit, he should run for president.
Yeah, he's doing big things in the community and for the best.
Dude, without him, I don't think I would be in this position I am now.
No, he's the man. I definitely love Vic, man.
Yeah, bro. Big ups.
And big up to Rick Monster and the crew.
Oh, yeah.
No, Rick, man, wherever he goes, it's crunk. It's packed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know what those guys do to get him there, but they pack him in.
Yeah, he definitely brings that noise, man.
Yep. No, I did a couple of the office things. I mean, the block party things. They called them the tiki parties, whatever that was between Brio and the office.
Yeah.
I did one or two of those, and it was pretty fun too. And those guys would do it, and it would be just crazy packed.
Now, what do you feel like it's just promoting, or do you feel like it's just them, or do you feel like it's their selection?
Well, for those guys, they're kind of the younger generation now, so I'm sure they attract that younger crowd when they go places, and they're just in that realm where they're more popular than per se. Me, I'm an older head, and I'm like I said, I'm an outsider kind of. So I'm not from this area. So some people are cool and they give me respect and come out, but I'm not per se as popular as some of the younger DJs like Rick Monster.
Yeah, but like, yeah, and that's why I said like, even though like with internet, like even though you're old, man, like if you kind of know how to use the internet, it can still help you.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of the shows are still pretty dope, pretty cool, especially some of the ones at Fozzie's and pretty crunk, and even District and Onyx, depending, but like it all depends too a lot of times on weather. Like last weekend, we had that first cold blast.
Yeah. And
it was kind of slow everywhere.
And then like days later, bro, it got like hot or something. I was like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's crazy how we went from 70 to 40. Within a couple days.
Dude, I feel like the weather's gonna be either really cold for a long time or it's gonna be short.
That Farmer's Almanac, whatever, supposedly they predict a very snowy winter.
Yeah, I can see it though, cause, dude, like what mostly all October it was kind of warm.
It's 70s, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's just crazy, man.
I was fishing in November in a t-shirt.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like certain parts of the day, I was in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
I was telling my buddies, it's kind of crazy that I'm in a t-shirt in November. Usually wearing full snowsuit. Yeah, in the boat, it's cold.
You like fishing in the cold, or it was just because you saw the opportunity?
No, the fishing is usually better when it's colder.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think
snow on the water, or like
sometimes not on the water, but sometimes in the boat. But
because when it gets cold, the lake freezes.
The lake freezes. Yeah, we still ice fish, but we got huts and heaters and everything else for all that.
Dude, and I want to switch it to some graffiti or some art questions, man. So when you were doing your graffiti, did you ever get caught?
Yes.
How was it? And what age were you?
I was in Chicago. I was probably barely 21, I bet.
Oh, okay.
And because I know sometimes some of it I served county time,
Oh, wow, really?
But yeah, we would get caught repeatedly. We were doing a lot of rooftops. That was real popular in Chicago.
Yeah.
And then tagging walls, like on the busy streets. So we would try to do quick throw-ups and stuff. And a couple times, I'm a bigger dude, so yeah, man, I got caught, Yeah. But, because of getting caught over and over, finally they get sick of it and they go to court and they're like, all right, we're done with you. We're going to throw some sentence on you. And one time I served home lockup, whatever you call that, where I had the bracelet on my foot and stuff, and I would stay home. And then when I came to here, I brung TFD to Rockford. Originally, I started a little crew, and I got stuck to join. Initially, this guy Work.
All local, right?
Yeah.
Rockford.
And then this guy Jedi, and this guy from Chicago as well used to come out here, Coral. He wasn't TFD, but he was CMW. Okay. So he was bombing like crazy too in Rockford. There was actually a graffiti squad that was looking for a lot of us, and some of us got raided,
Yeah, dude, yeah, and because I heard about the story, bro. I heard, for anybody who doesn't know, either on Vix, right? You're on Boom Bap and Beyond.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and you talked about it on there, or was it on Rick's?
It was for sure on Rick's, I believe.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I listened to both. Yeah. So that's why I kind of...
They were both dope.
Yeah. And so I heard the story about getting raided, either from you or a doorman. Or somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. So, yeah, dude. And so when you came here, did you get caught at first for it to build up, or did your name precede you?
Me and Jedi did a lot of stuff together because we became close homies. And we would actually go to Works a lot and kick it, and he used to throw these little parties. At some of them, I would DJ, at the parties, and we wound up doing this event called Girls and Skills that Work came up with the idea. He's like, why don't we do a little barbecue in the park and have some MCs battling, some graffiti guys graffitiing, and you DJing. I said, hell yeah, I'm all for it. Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing, the guy that throws the Tamale Fest, Manuel?
Yeah, shout out Manny. Dude.
Yeah, Manny was one of the originals. When Work came up with the idea as well that helped get the permits and everything else. For real, like Manny is actually, besides work, Manny and Work are the co-founders of Girls and Skills initially.
Yeah.
Manny helped get a lot of those permits for the graffiti, like at Old Dean Park.
I'm not sure if we really talked about it, because, man, when I did Manny's interview, bro, I was, like, so fucking nervous, bro. Yeah, dude. But, I know he's told me off camera. For sure, he's told me off camera that, like, he's done his own thing here, too,
Yep.
Yeah.
He got caught a couple times.
Yeah.
Himself,
Dude, and it's just crazy, bro. Like, there's, like, there is a history, bro, regardless if it's this one or another one from another side of town, bro.
Right.
There's history here in Rockford. That's why I had to do. That's why I wanted to capture it. Not to give it exposure, but just to document it.
Yeah.
There's not much of it, video wise, or
no, there ain't.
Yeah. So if it's rare, it's usually it's a hard find to me.
Yes.
Yeah. There's only a few people that show it, and that's usually like Big Monster. I think that's about it to tell you too.
Vic's like the documentary king.
Yeah.
He's got all that stuff.
Yeah.
I have video somewhere of Flacco breakdancing a little bit, and rest in peace to Flacco. But yeah, Flacco was rowdy, man. He would be starting fights and stuff when Kid Jungle and me and Flacco were there.
Yeah.
Flacco was rowdy. He would get real physical when he was breaking with him.
Yeah.
Like kind of throwing elbows and stuff and going crazy.
Were you like that? Were you always like competitive, or you were just like, man, I just want to be cool with everybody?
I guess I was sort of competitive in the Chicago realm when I was in the DJ battles. And I guess moving this way, I kind of felt like I was more superior than a lot of the DJs here. Okay. As far as cutting and juggling and scratching.
Yeah.
I felt like there wasn't too many people that could mess with me on that level,
Yeah. Did anybody ever try challenging you?
Not too much. Me and Just One, back in the day, we had talks of battling. I was like, oh, I'll battle you, I'll smoke you, you know what I mean? You ain't got nothing. Yeah. And then Just One was like, oh, yeah, whatever, let's bring it, let's battle, But it never happened. We joke about it. Me and Jess are real cool, but
yeah.
I've even visited him way up north there. We went up there. Or I did, I guess,
Yeah. I mean, me, bro, I was always like, I was never competitive. But to tell you the truth, I was never competitive because it was rare when I found somebody else who loved graffiti like I did and shit. For me, my era, bro, like, I shit you not, bro, I just met, like, the max, I met, like, three people.
Yeah. Like, as far as the graffiti end of it, I never really was competitive on that side of it. I just liked the adrenaline, and being creative, I guess.
Yeah. Dude, that's dope.
But over the years, I've become older, and I can't exactly be getting chased by cops now.
Yeah. So do you still draw? Do you still dabble?
Not really, truthfully.
Okay.
I don't know why. Sometimes I'll just tag and like on a paper if I'm bored or something, but I don't want to try to compose anything lately. I've had people ask me to do pieces for them and this and that, and I'm like, man, I don't really do that. And they're always like, come on, I'll pay you, do this piece. I'm like, man, I got people that could do it for you that are way better, like Stuck, or somebody like that. Like the guy at Casey's wanted to get a bunch of pieces into the bar. And I told him, contact my guy Ryan Stuck. He'll throw down and kill it, but I guess Stuck must have hit him with a price and they didn't really agree on it. But I understand on the Stuck end, that stuff costs money and takes time. So somebody's got to get paid,
Yeah, for real. Tell me about it, bro. So, I mean, with the can things too, I learned.
All the time it takes you for even doing like one of those cans, probably, You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, dude.
Those cans are pretty badass. I was looking at them.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was gonna ask, man, if you ever have any fucking doodles just lying around, I'd love to put it up, bro. I love collecting art, bro. For sure, I wasn't always active with the actual graffiti part. I just love to draw the graffiti, and I always used to like collect graffiti. But like, In a book. I love black books, bro. Those were like my.
Yeah, I used to have a bunch of books. They might be in the basement somewhere, but I had a bunch of scrapbooks that a bunch of artists dabbled in. You know,
bro.
Maine, Shore, and all those guys. We hung up with a bunch of graffiti artists. Civil, I don't know if you remember Civil.
No.
J4F crew, just for fun. There was a whole bunch of graffiti crews back in the day in Chicago. You know.
No, bro. When I was I was like fucking dumb. When I was little, like, I didn't really get consciousness until, like, I was, like, 15, 16, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, damn, there's, like, of a bunch of shit, bro, like, just being responsible, knowing who people are and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, you know, growing up in Chicago, I started with the DJ thing more than I did the graffiti. The graffiti didn't come till later. Yeah. I started DJing in '89. I was in grammar school still, so I was making flyers, you know, by hand, and then we were passing them out at school and getting kids to come. You're in here,
yeah.
Getting kids to come out and support was awesome, you know, because I was young. It was like just that feeling and knowing we were successful at doing something out of the realm, out of the normal, you know.
Yeah. Who did you look up to as artists?
Huh?
Who did you look up to as artists?
Graffiti artists?
Or
most definitely Maine.
So it was just people around you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, Maine kind of was known already pretty big at a city.
Yeah, the only fucking people I really knew, bro, was like Banksy and Shepherd Ferry, but like these are like those.
Yeah, so then
I never got to meet like
Maine introduced us to the Chirac Nation.
Yeah.
Which is Chicago's version of the Zulu Nation. So he got us our own chapter into the Chirac Nation, which was chapter 6. So then I got to know like Artistic, and he's kind of legendary. He's been around a long time.
Yeah. Wait. May I ask if I'm not like breaking any code or like any something, bro? Because I never got taught it, so I don't know. Like to get in or to be accepted like that, like is it a lot? Do you have to do a lot? Does it take up?
You know, they didn't really know who I was or nothing, and we just kind of kept going to the meetings. But they finally had an event. It was like I would say like a barbecue. They were cooking, and there's some DJs and MCs, and they let me on the decks, and they didn't know I was that good until I started throwing down and cutting and juggling, and they're like, damn, this dude, you know. Then they got me into more events after that, of course. I guess you gotta sort of prove yourself, right?
Yeah.
And everything.
I wasn't sure like if it's just tagging, but you also gotta have a like what's it called when you get locked up and stuff, like a history of that, and then
right.
Like, if it's any physical like jump-ins,
right,
or I don't know.
I know even guys like Stuck and stuff got locked up there a number of times, you know.
Yeah.
And all of the graffiti artists that were in the game usually got locked up at some point, you know.
Was it a requirement? That's what I'm asking. Yeah.
I wouldn't say a requirement, but
okay.
Funny thing is we had this guy in the crew. I think his name was Dot, and he would headbutt people to let him in the TFT. That was like the initiation. But this dude would headbutt like garbage cans and stuff in dumpsters.
Holy shit.
He had a really hard head. I don't know. But he would have to headbutt you if you wanted to get into TFT back then.
Oh, shit.
We were all drinking 40s and chilling, and
it
was some dumb initiation, but that's how he did it.
Did you ever see anybody get knocked out or nose?
What's up?
Did you ever see anybody like get knocked out or broke?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I personally knocked out a few friends, but I mean, it's just because we were drunk and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
One time, Arson was extra cocky, getting drunk. My guy, a Jedi, and he said something to me, and it didn't sit right. And I just clocked him right in the eye and knocked him right down on the floor, and he had a black eye and everything the next day. I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I mean, we were drunk and you said something out of line. You got out of pocket, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean.
And did you guys always squash it after?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. A real rowdy one was that, what's his name, from CMW. Coral. Coral was rowdy. You know, when he got drunk, he just got rowdy. He was from Chicago too, so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not much of a drinker, man. But I mean, I drank, but like from those experiences, like yeah, it's not good for you either.
Yeah, we used to get drunk, and even with the Rockford cats, and just go on bombing missions.
Dude, have you ever been that fucked up going like on?
Oh hell yeah!
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
We get all racked up on liquor and go bombing.
Dude, I couldn't, bro. If I ever got fucked up.
It was funny, the stories, you know.
Yeah.
Even the guy that used to, I think his name was Vic too, or something. He used to work at Uncle Nick's as well, and he was a graffiti artist. He was recently in one of those tiki parties. He DJ'd a little bit. I'm trying to think of his name, man. It's been so long. But yeah, he would get drunk and go on missions with us too. We'd meet him after work at Uncle Nick's. We're like, come on, man, just go kicking and bomb.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, dude. What do you think is the percentage of DJs? Wait, do you think it's like a yin and yang, like DJing and graffiti?
Well, now since I'm older, you know, it's been more focused on just the DJ aspect of it. But when I was younger, it was probably 50-50, or some points it might have been a little bit more percentage with the graffiti. I guess just because I was younger and doing dumb shit and drinking more, you know. Or the DJ thing, you sort of had to be a little bit on the serious end to really elevate or get anywhere, you know. Really practice your sets or be on point and precise.
Now, dude, are you working on anything recent? I mean, I'm not gonna lie, this video might take some time, bro. Like at least next month or something, you know.
I was working on a mixtape for a while there. I do record live sometimes when I go to the shows and stuff, like St. Madison.
Okay.
You know, super high energy crowd. I'll record the set, and then I post the set like on SoundCloud or something.
Okay. You got SoundCloud?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
sweet. So active.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Sweet. Yeah, definitely check it out. Yeah, man, we're at that hour and like 12 minutes.
Yep.
Give or take like 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Yeah, a bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Dude, am I missing anything?
I can't think of anything that per se would be missing, you know?
Okay, yeah. I mean, dude, yeah, after you see your video, bro, if you like it, man, definitely think about part 2.
Yeah, like you said, you could check out my YouTube videos, and some of the older stuff's on there. There's some fishing stuff on there as well, but some of the older stuff, like from Ground Level Show and Scribble Jam Battle, is on there. And
wait, so you gotta you be uploading videos to YouTube?
Yep, to YouTube. Yep, DJ Busy One Productions. Yeah.
Is just DJing or other stuff?
There's a little fishy stuff in there too, but
okay,
it's all cool anyways.
Yeah, same thing, bro. If you go on my YouTube, it's you'll see my podcast.
Yeah.
Like, if you look further, there's like art videos and shit.
Oh, dope! Hell yeah!
Yeah. So,
that's good, man.
Yeah, that's dope.
Hell yeah!
But yeah, no, we'll definitely talk more on the next one. Man.
For sure, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me out, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you, dude. Yeah,
Hell
bro,
yeah.
you definitely giving me like a bunch of dope history, bro.
Yep, for sure, man.
Definitely an honor.
Like I said, it could go on and on and on for days.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Me, bro, I definitely love listening to stories, man. I was always the baby of the family, so everybody always told me stories.
But big up to the Monsters, Midwest Monsters crew.
Yeah,
Big for president, folks.
Yeah. And stay safe and stay tuned. Yeah.
Oh, this is from A to Z. Kelvin Candy, A to Z. This is A to Z. My name is Richard, tattooed on Santiago. I'm Professor Panda. This is from A to Z. What's up, man? My name is Kid Griffey. This is from A to Z. What's up? This is KB Fan from LGC. This is from A to Z. You're watching A to Z. Santo Domingo, you know, set for the east side. We got Andre from LGC. From A to Z. Oh, my boy. This is from A to Z. Yeah, let's go. Yo. This is Ali Squeeze. This is from A to Z. Cheers, Sketch. This is from A to Z. What's good, y'all? My name is Nino Cruz. This is from A to Z, and you're watching Disney Channel. This is DJ Asset from A to Z. Boy, Manny Salgado, a.k.a. El Mero Tamalero. This is from A to Z. Watch his agent. My name is Indigo Chai. This is from A to Z. I'm Legacy Tay. This is from A to Z. My name is Damu. This is from A to Z. My name is Rodrigo. It's Bubs. A to Z Studios. This is Liquid, and this has been from A to Z. This is Freak, and it's been from A to Z. I know you're hellion, man. You've been tuning in with A to Z. Yo, it's Mannequin, and this has been A to Z. Yo, this is Kush French checking in on A to Z. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Copper here, hanging out with the homie Angel. A to Z. What's up, guys? I'm Fish Head. Hey, what's up? It's Ricky Carcass. Big shout out to A to Z, man. My name is Young Fletcher with the Widow. Shout out A to Z Studios, man. You know how we coming. Jason Goff, and this is from A to Z.
Katie Love Goff, and this is from A to Z.